Hi, my name is Moretti. I'm the Rise Vermont School Wellness Specialist, and I'm here to show you an activity that we call our sugary sweetened beverage activity. This version of the activity that I'm showing you is a modified version from the traditional activity that we do. This would be for you to use with a classroom of students who are a lot younger, who maybe have a little less self-control, or if you have less time to do the full activity but still want to have the conversation and have the full impact of demonstrating how much sugar is in a traditional beverage, how much added sugar is in a traditional beverage that you can buy on the market. So you could borrow our kit that we have all set up, or if you were to make it yourself, let me tell you the list of supplies that we use. The first thing is the worksheet that we've created called How Much Sugar is in Your Drink, where it shows how to calculate how much added sugar is in a commercial beverage, and some talking points at the bottom. We also use granulated sugar. You can use packets of sugar or cubes of sugar that are easily manipulated as well. We just like to use the granulated sugar. The packets of sugar in cubes aren't necessarily a full teaspoon, but still it's about the visual impact of counting them out. We use a traditional plastic teaspoon for measuring out the sugar. And we like to use the 9-ounce clear plastic cups because it's easily manageable. You can see the amount of sugar in it. And for some of the drinks that we show, the amount of sugar actually fills up the cup almost the whole way. So the visual impact of that is pretty intense. Purchase some of the traditionally available sodas out on the market. You could use sodas or other drinks, energy drinks, monster drinks, or sports drinks, or even any of the caffeine drinks out on the market today. The difference, however, is when you're doing this activity is I buy 2 of whatever beverage it is that we're demonstrating, empty one out, wash it, and try to dry it well. Sometimes it's not fully dry, so you get the sugar staying on the side, so that when you're comparing or when you're having the conversation about how much sugar is in a beverage, you have the full beverage as well as the bottle that shows how much sugar is in that beverage. So doing this presentation this way, if you're doing it on your own, it requires some advanced work just so that you're prepared for the conversation. So by the end of the activity, your students should be able to identify how to calculate how much added sugar is in a beverage, how to identify what is a healthier beverage and why, what makes a beverage more or less healthy than the other. And when drinking water, students should be able to talk about what could they add to water to keep it healthy and make it more palatable or more interesting to drink. What would inspire them to drink more water more often. So I like to begin the conversation not just about drinks, but just about food choices in general. When we begin to talk about healthy choices, have students name some food or beverages that they think are healthy, and then have the conversation why. Have them name some foods that they deem unhealthy, and have them explain why. Usually it does come down to sugar. So once you've had the conversation about healthy choices versus unhealthy choices, you can then you can distribute the sheet. Oftentimes teachers have a paper passer or a teacher's assistant. And so, check in with the teacher to find out what language they use in their class. And so have the paper passer or the teacher distribute the paper to every student. Then you can begin the conversation with saying, the American Heart Association has done research and identifies that young people should probably have or should target not having more than 6 teaspoons of added sugar throughout the course of a day, which includes beverages as well as all the food that they eat all day long. So at that point, you'd want to start measuring, or maybe one of the students, the teacher's helper, could come up and measure it and have the students count along with you while you're spooning it out. I sometimes like to mess up so that they can, identify, to prove that they were counting along, or that they can show that they know how to count. You know what? Honestly, wasn't paying attention, so don't know if that was 6 teaspoons. So I wind up doing it more than once, so I'm going to do it more than once now. 3, 4, 5, 6. It didn't look like 6 last time. So then you would hold that up. This is 6 teaspoons of sugar, roughly. It's not exact science. You have the students talk about that. What does that look like? Does that look like a lot or a little? Does it look like something that would be easy to stay below in the course of a day? Or would it be really difficult for them to stay below 6 teaspoons of added sugar over the course of an entire day? And you want to leave that on display front and center throughout the entire conversation. I typically keep the bottles that have the sugar in it out of sight, and I pull out 4 or 5 bottles of beverages and have the students talk to me about them. A lot of them will talk about how they like to drink them, how their parents like to drink them. I've heard students tell me that their parents put Mountain Dew in a baby bottle for the baby to drink, and I ask them what they think about that. So we have lots of different conversations about the different drinks in front of us. I also have them guess, which one do you think has the most amount of sugar or least amount of sugar? And oftentimes I'll either line them up along the whiteboard or have a Post-it note in front of them. We'll line them up in order and then put, a rating next to them. So at this point, we then begin to talk about the drinks themselves. We talk about the label. So Sunkissed, for example, has a picture of an orange on it. That sounds great. Oranges are super healthy. Fruit's healthy, has vitamin C, it's gonna keep you healthy, right? Lots of sun, it's kissed by the sun. This must be fantastic. It's orange. What do you think is giving it an orange color? Must be squeezed from oranges, maybe, although not really seen many oranges that are this orange. And then we turn it around so that when you're talking with the students, you can have a student come up and look at how many sugars are in this bottle. So it's one whole bottle is 1 serving, and how many sugars are in this bottle of Sunkissed. So 72 grams of sugar in a bottle of Sunkissed. There is no juice, no actual juice in this bottle. So there is no orange juice in it. So it does not have any vitamin C that you would normally get from drinking orange juice. And then you pull out your bottle of Sunkissed. There's so much sugar, it's right up to the label. You can barely see where the sugar ends. So you can shift it around. It's clumped up a little bit. There was moisture in this bottle. And so there are 18, is that right? Around 18 teaspoons of sugar in this bottle of Sunkissed. And so you talk to the students about what does that mean to drink 18 teaspoons of sugar? And you can bring out something here. Wow, look, this is a lemonade, brisk, and it says right on it, juice drink. Cool, I solved that problem because Sunkissed didn't have any juice at all. This is gonna be my healthier choice. It's got juice in it. And when you turn it around, you can show the students that it says right on there how much juice it contains, 1% juice. So in this whole bottle, less than 1 sip is actual juice, and the rest of it is just sugar water. There are 28 grams of sugar in it, so clearly better in terms of amount of added sugar in it. So there's 7 teaspoons. So you can then pull out the bottle. Oftentimes we write right on the bottom of the bottle how many teaspoons of sugar are on the bottle so that you don't have to do quick math in your head. You can compare it. When you compare these 2 fruit drinks, which one has the most amount of sugar, which one has the least, which one has more juice? Negligible, but there is juice in it. So when it says it's a juice drink, it is an honest statement, more or less. So even just having that conversation, if you had to choose one, which one would you choose and why? Pull out Mountain Dew. That's a class favorite. Everybody loves their Mountain Dew. You can talk about the how the label looks interesting and cool, and the ads are do the do, and you must be really cool when you drink Mountain Dew. I mean, look at that color. Like, I think the only time I've ever seen that color is with my antifreeze in the car, and I'm not interested in drinking that, and I personally am not interested in drinking a soda that's of that color either. Again, look at the amount of sugars on the side of the label, 77 grams of sugar. Pull that out. That's how much sugar there is. And so 77 grams of sugar, and this one was 72 grams of sugar. So there's more sugar in the Mountain Dew than in the Sunkist. 2 sodas or 2 drinks that are questionable in color. What's adding that color to them? So you talk about with students which one is the best choice. Not what flavor they like, what one they mostly drink, but if they're just looking at making a decision based upon the recommendation is no more than 6 teaspoons of sugar, what one would help them make better choices throughout the day? This is way more than 6. That means they couldn't or shouldn't have any other added sugar throughout the day. No cupcakes, no cookies, no cake, or definitely no more soda. So you want to have them talk about their decision making and how it affects the entire day. And then you could do the same thing with Coca-Cola and with Pepsi or whatever the beverages you've chosen, where it's all pre-measured. You could even pass around the bottles with the sugar in it so that the students can look at and compare. You can have students maybe pre-choose throughout or before the activity, or maybe break the students up into groups, have them choose which soda they're more interested in learning about or what one they traditionally drink, so that then they can do the calculations and bring it home, and they have something in front of them to have the conversation with their parents. So if it's younger students, again, it's really about having the demonstration, everything in front of them to compare to those 6 teaspoons. Or if it's older students who truly could handle the activity but you don't have the time, it's really about putting this out in front of it and starting the conversation. What do you deem as healthy? What are the choices you make and why? And how might this affect the choices that you're having throughout the day? Another interesting thing to do is to throw out other facts about sodas, like sometimes people use Pepsi to remove rust from chrome or to unclog their pipes or clean their toilets. If it's doing that to the pipes or rust, what might it be doing inside of your body? What could it be doing to your teeth? If you actually have an extra tooth lying around or knocked out somewhere, you could put it in a glass of soda and look at it the next day to see if that tooth is there. More times than not, that tooth is gone by the next morning. So putting those examples in front of students, not just about the sugar, but about what else these beverages and the chemicals in these beverages cause, could help them change their mind as well. Then have the conversation of all drinks. What would you choose if you're thirsty or after playing sports? You know, do you want to be drinking this much sugar after exercising? Is that going to help your body be really healthy? And then talk about what is the healthiest choice. You will ultimately get to water. Why is water the healthiest choice? Why is it important to stay hydrated? So pull out the facts of better brain function, better digestion, better muscle function, and ease of joints. It helps you regulate your body temperature and keeps you functioning at your highest. But they'll always say, but water's boring. It doesn't taste like anything. So you can have the conversation, what can you add to water to make it more interesting so that you might actually be drinking it all day long? Invariably, one of the first answers is going to be sugar. I don't ever say no. I say, cool, if you want to add sugar to it, think about how much sugar you're going to add to it. Again, the whole point is you want to stay with less than 6 teaspoons of added sugar throughout the course of the day. So if you choose to add sugar to your water, where are you going to reduce the amount of sugar later in the day? Other students will tell you that they infuse water with fruit or freeze fruit to use like an ice cube so that when it melts, it releases the juice. Some students use will brew tea and drink iced tea unsweetened or with a little bit of fruit in it. You can also put mint leaves or rosemary, any variety that students will come up with. Encourage them, especially when it's about drinking more water and not adding sugar to it. So by the end of the activity, again, students should be able to calculate how, or know how to calculate how much added sugar there is in a beverage. They should be able to identify of the beverages in front of them, which one they would call healthier and why. And they should also be able to identify how to make drinking water more interesting, or at least what they could do to water so that they would continue to drink water all day long. We encourage you to let us know how it goes, and if you have any interesting comments or questions from your students after you've done the activity, please share them with us or post them to our Facebook page so that we can share with all of our followers. Thank you.